It's early morning in Jerusalem, and here I am sitting at a bomb shelter. The sirens did not go off, so here I am by myself. As you can see behind me, there's the cement door back there. If the siren should go off at any moment, then suddenly this room will be invaded by 50, 60 people. And we've all gotten to know each other. Being in a bomb shelter makes me think a little bit of being behind a locked door. Obviously, it's very different than the locked door of a psychiatric hospital. But it also made me think of the movie Shawshank Redemption. And that reminded me of a essay that I wrote a few years ago about that very movie, which I would now like to share. The psychiatric hospital is not a place that needs to be explained. You feel it the moment you walk in. The buzz of a security door behind you, the faint echo of a television playing in the day room, the dull sound of shuffling slippers. But more than anything, it's the eyes. Eyes that hold stories, pain, sometimes fury, and sometimes nothing at all. I've spent years sitting across from people behind those locked doors. Men and women whose minds have turned against them, who carry with them a quiet surrender that is hard to name, but impossible to miss. Yes, they are locked in, but not just by the hospital system. Their locked doors are internal, and truthfully, so are ours. There's something about this place, said one of my patients during a group session. At first I felt trapped, but now, not so much. Those words reminded me instantly of Red, played by Morgan Freeman in the film The Shawshank Redemption. In one of the most haunting moments of the film, he says, "These walls are funny. First you hate them, then you get used to them. After a while, you depend on them." Red had been in prison so long that he could no longer picture life beyond the bars. The free world felt foreign. Hope to him had become not just dangerous, but maddening. "Let me tell you something, my friend," he says. "Hope is a dangerous thing. Hope can drive a man insane." As a psychiatrist, I've experienced that in the hospital more than once. The way a patient will stare past me when I ask a question that invites them to consider change. The way someone will fold in on themselves, impervious to words, unreachable. When you've lived in pain long enough, the very idea of hope begins to feel cruel. But here's the uncomfortable truth. You don't have to be in a psychiatric hospital to be behind a locked door. Many of us are living lives inside subtle prisons of our own making. The walls are less visible, sure. They're made of things like routine, resignation, scrolling late into the night, avoiding hard conversations, staying too long in jobs or relationships that deaden us. We stop asking questions. We stop seeking meaning. We settle into a version of ourselves that is safe, predictable, and quietly despairing. Sometimes we tell ourselves this is just what it means to be an adult, to, quote, get by. But deep down, we know better. We know when something essential has gone to sleep inside us. When did we stop creating? When did we stop laughing until we couldn't breathe? When did we stop looking at the night sky and wondering what our lives were actually for? We get used to our own inner prison, just like Red did. The walls start to feel like home. But midway through Shawshank, a new voice enters. Andy Dufresne, played by Tim Robbins, quietly pushes back. "There are places in the world that aren't made of stone," he says. "There's something inside they can't touch. Hope." Andy's hope wasn't naive, it was defiant. It was the kind of hope born not from fantasy, but from inner conviction. And that hope carried him through unspeakable hardship and eventually to freedom. Viktor Frankl, the great psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, said it clearly in Man's Search for Meaning. Those who fared best were not necessarily the strongest, but the ones who held on to a sense of future, a dream, a reason to go on, a vision no one else could see, but which gave shape and weight to every day. Frankl understood what so many of us forget. Meaning is oxygen for the soul. Without it, we suffocate. With it, we can survive almost anything. We don't need to scale prison walls to reclaim our freedom. Sometimes all it takes is the decision to begin again, to say, I will not live on autopilot. I will not accept numbness as normal. I will choose curiosity over control, faith over fear, hope over despair. One of life's strangest blessings is that we never know what's around the corner, and that's what makes life so intriguing. It could be the next phone call, the next sunrise, or an unexpected conversation that reignites our spirit. But only if we're willing to show up, to believe that our story is not over, to remember that no matter how many years we've been locked inside, the key has always been within us. That is the quiet brilliance of Shawshank's final words. Andy, at last free, writes a letter to Red filled with grace and invitation. And he leaves us with a line that echoes in the soul long after the credits roll. I guess it comes down to a simple choice, really. Get busy living or get busy dying.